Oh, that's right by my house.
Check. Checking the mic. Yeah. Thank you.
Hey, 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 hey. Ready? Here we go. 1, 2, 3.
Good morning, Spiritual Life Center. Welcome to the SLC Sunday Experience. We are so glad you're here. It's the kickoff weekend of Faith in Action. We've been having a wonderful Toltec weekend so far with Don Jose Ruiz, Mary Youngblood, Santa Christian. Let's sing our welcome song.
I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm meant to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm meant to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm meant to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm meant to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting a message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here.
Our soul is welcome.
Oh, yeah.
Soul is welcome. Our souls are welcome here.
I'm in the right place at the right time. I'm just where I'm meant to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm meant to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. One more time.
Well,
My soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. My soul is welcome here. Yeah. My soul is welcome here. My soul is welcome here. My soul is welcome. Oh, you know my soul is welcome here. My soul is welcome here. My soul is welcome here. My soul is welcome. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to our first week of Faith in Action, and your souls are welcome here.
They are very welcome here. So welcome that I just must say, your soul is welcome here. And that we greet you in the name of all that is warm and all that is loving and all that is so energetic in this mission-centric community, Spiritual Life Center. And our mission, certainly, we transform lives as we love, we serve, and we remember. And whether you are here for the first time, or you are live streaming, or you're here, you've been here from the beginning, we want to welcome you. But if you're here for the first time, we especially want to welcome you. And you're not here by accident. We're all here by divine appointment. And we're so grateful you kept that appointment. And we just know you are so smart. And you are so amazingly in your memory of turning off anything that's going to ring. Because one of these days, James has agreed that we will do a ringtone challenge. But it's not today.
Not today. Not today. Well, now that we've created that clearing, we can connect directly with this presence. Knowing it is in this presence that we live and we move and we have our very beingness in. We know that this presence we can lean on and rest assured that all is well. For this presence includes everything that is good and perfect, all the qualities of love and peace and joy and wisdom, and health and wholeness and vitality and vigor. Imagination and the possibilities of the human spirit. And as we make this the activity of our awareness, then we begin to reflect and radiate from the depth of our being, our true selves, how we are meant to be in this world. And as we do, we hold these thoughts of spirit in everything that we think, everything that we say, and everything that we do. We bring forth healing and wholeness. And in the area of healing and wholeness, we just affirm that for anyone who's looking for a healing in their life, we see it done. We bring a special prayer to our wonderful Aiden Willett, who had a mishap this past weekend and is now going through a healing process himself. And so we send him healing energy right here, right now. We're grateful for the opportunity to be the vessels and vehicles of this healing presence. And as we go forth, not only are we healed physically, but mentally and emotionally in every area of our life, because we are lining up with who and what we are as children of God. It's already done in the mind and heart of pure spirit, and we simply raise ourselves to be one with the one and let the Spirit take over. And so it is, and so we let it be. Amen. And for those who would like to support Aiden, I think Kerry Freeman is going to be in the courtyard. If you'd like to see ways you can be of support to him as he goes through his healing process. He's in the hospital. I think he's going to have a operation for a broken jaw, so we figure we're going to give him some support along the way. Well, we have a wonderful guest who's not a guest. He's almost kind of like
It's like a brother.
Yeah. Mi hermano. Sí. Don Jose Ruiz, he's coming here to kick us off with our Faith in Action, and it's based upon his book. Just to know a little bit about him, if you're not familiar with Don Jose Ruiz, he was born and raised in Mexico. And at the age of 21, he came to the United States to live and study with his father, Don Miguel Ruiz, who is a teacher and, of course, the best-selling author of the book, The Four Agreements, that most of us are familiar with. And he lectures, across the United States and as well as across the world. I was sharing earlier, he was sharing with me that he had just come from India, and after he leaves here, he's heading to Connecticut, and then somewhere else, and then somewhere else, and then somewhere else. And he's spreading the consciousness, and he's been at sacred sites around the world. And he and Don Miguel Ruiz, as well as his brother Don Miguel Jr., are prolific writers in the changing wisdom work that they're doing. So give him a wonderful Spiritual Life Center welcome this morning, Don Jose Ruiz.
Well, this week for our Wow Wednesday program, we have, I recognize that. We have the Walk the Talk interview series, and Reverend Deborah is going to interview me about my spiritual path. And some of you have mentioned to me that you were really amazed that I was a Catholic youth and I was pretty devout. And then I became less and less devout, and I got a little bit muddled with human behavior and became actually kind of an argumentative atheist. And that was until I found the Four Agreements. And that unlocked something for me and helped me to unlearn things that were no longer true. So if you want to hear about my story, join us on Wednesday, and you can have soup with us at 6 and the program at 7.
And just to remind you, another program is coming up very soon, the Bridge of Light Ancestral Ceremony. And you can join Reverends Christine Boughton, Reverend Louise, along with Paula and Catherine Mandela, Ann Roach, Jennifer Helm, and Michael and Lisa Lawson. And this will be the 20th anniversary Eve gathering in which we honor the foundational wisdom of the Unity and New Thought movement, as well as our own light. So through chanting as well as power objects, we'll travel across the bridge from past to present as we vision together the emerging future that is coming and rushing toward us at this very moment.
And we have our annual favorite event coming up, and we have our favorite songster and announcer extraordinaire, R.J. Bullen.
R.J.
Hi, everybody. So our Light the World Gala is at the end of Faith in Action. So we're starting today with our Faith in Action experience for 6 weeks, and what a great way to start. with good music and a good message, and then meeting in private homes. So at the end of Faith in Action, we have Gratitude Weekend. We have the Gala on Friday and then Gratitude Sunday. So in order to have Light the World Gala and support the mission and ministry here at Spiritual Life Center, this is our biggest generating revenue event of the year. So let's take a look at some of the people making some great and wonderful contributions. We have our global sponsors here, Tom Rose and Josie Johnson, and so let's recognize them. So we'd also like to recognize Robin DeLong. Now I want to say a few things about Robin right here. Robin is a global sponsor, but she also kicked up an extra donation to cover the entire cost of renting our facility. So thank you very much, Robin. We're going to be really kicking it up a notch next week with ongoing ticket sales. Those of you who have auction ideas and would like to present some ideas of some auction items, you might want to put together a dinner in your house or an experience that you'd like to share for a live auction item. And then starting next week, we're going to have volunteer signups with Carrie and Pat Harvey. So there's a lot of volunteer opportunities. So next week, we're really going to kick it up a notch, and it's going to really be a wonderful Light the World Gala. And I do have a little ditty. Our hands are small, but heck, you can write a real big check. Will you write a real big check? 'Cause we are never broken.
He keeps coming up with them. Okay, who else just want to remind you that I've been announcing that Claudia Norton and I are organizing a guided tour to Cuba in February, Cuba in Transition through art. And you can see Claudia in the courtyard or go to the welcome table to get the information that you can find out about registering. So it expects to be a really, really good affair.
And this is our first week of Faith in Action. It's one of my favorite times a year. We also want to let you know if you haven't gotten your book, it's out in the courtyard, as well as other books from the beautiful tradition of the Ruiz family. So get your books in the courtyard, and you should have heard from your home host by now if you're in one of those groups. So if you haven't, see one of the staff, and we can help you out with that. And Faith in Action would not happen without many, many hands and beautiful hearts and amazing efforts. And so Reverend Deborah Phillips was leading that team this year, along with Paula Mandela, Tess Keene, and Jeannie Chesko. So be sure if you see them, thank them.
Yes. Did a great job.
There she is. And just so you know, there's so many ways for you to connect and explore here at Spiritual Life Center. And you may be holding something red, and we call it a bulletin. And we work really hard to get all the information in there about all the events, the classes, the gatherings, the weekly study groups that we have. And so keep that if you want to know what's going on, because it gets updated absolutely every week. So take that home with you and put it on your smart refrigerator.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Louise does a great job of keeping that information up to date for us.
And actually, if you find any typos, be free to just let me know.
Yes, and be kind. And speaking of great people,
there is a really wonderful team coming up here.
yes, our youth ed team has a few things to share with you.
Spirit calls us home. Spirit is calling. Spirit calls us home. Sing hey, 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 ho. Hey, 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 ho. Good morning, Spiritual Life Center. Namaste, beautiful beings. So here we are, Faith in Action. We're doing it too. And we're just here for a minute, but I think it's so important that we honor our littles and our middles and the people that take such great care of them. So let's just hear it for us. It's fun to be us. Yes. So we are also doing Faith in Action. I wrote a little shaman song for us, and we're singing our affirmation. Each week it's a different affirmation for the theme, and you can find that if you're interested in playing along with us. The families page on at SLC, slcworld.org. And sometimes those words just get all jumbled up. Anyway, so yeah, go to the webpage, and there's a home play PDF, because you are never too old to play, people. Play with us, all right? And we just want to really thank Don Jose, too, for his teaching. We love the book. We are using the stories. They're great. As he says, stories can be the seeds for awakening. And so can song and affirmation, so we do a lot of that. So that's all. I know, brief, right? I'm in, I'm out. We're drumming our way down the line, so just sing it with us. Spirit is always calling us home, right? Yes.
Yes.
Thank you, Lori. Our kids are so lucky.
All righty. Keeping us young at heart. And speaking of wonderful people, we want to acknowledge our ambassadors and our prayer chaplains. Those who are present this morning, we invite them to stand. And the ambassadors are wearing the rainbow ribbons, and they can share with you any information that you would like to know about Spiritual Life Center, point you in the right direction, and as well as bring you to awareness of the programs and activities that are taking place. And so we thank them for their presence. And of course, our prayer chaplains are doing the very important work of holding the high consciousness through prayer for each and every one of us. And if you're going through any kind of challenge or just simply want to celebrate life, they're available to pray with you here in the sanctuary after the service or in the courtyard, and they're wearing the white stoles. We thank them for their presence this morning and the consciousness that they bring.
And today, if you're here for the first time, in just a minute, we're going to ask you to raise your hand. We won't ask you to stand and sing, but we're going to give you a few things. We're going to give you a welcome card, and that welcome card is a great way to get connected here. And fill that out, drop it in the offering basket, or take it to the welcome table after service, and they've got some really cool gifts for you.
So if anyone's here for the very first time, we invite you just to raise your hand and keep it up real high as our ushers hand you a special gift. And what they're going to give you is a chalet. And we invite you to wear that chalet in order to get a special greeting from one of our friends of Spiritual Life Center. And on the chalet, there's a tag. And the tag says, "We believe we are spiritual beings having a human experience, and there are many paths to the one God." And so we thank each and every one of you who are here for the first time for bringing your consciousness and your love and energy to our community, because it wouldn't be the same without your energy and consciousness being here. So with that, we invite you to greet our newcomers. Thank them for coming. Greet each other and just say, "You are marvelous."
Okay, so Louise might not ask you to stand and sing, but I'm going to. Yes. So we are going to introduce the Faith in Action song for this year. It is called Creating the Dream. I was very, very inspired by Don Jose's writings, and I hope you like the song, and I hope you like the song. So we might have noticed that We have a Grammy Award-winning Native American flutist, Mary Youngblood, on the platform. And she brought her lovely guitarist, Santa Christian, along the way.
Thank you.
And our beautiful songbird, Louise, will help us sing this song.
Takes a fifth flight. From out of the cave and into the light, the serpent of illusion takes a feathered flight. The eagle of truth, revealing who you are, the artist and the art. Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, oh, hey ya, hey ya, oh. Deep in the silence is where the sound is heard. Universal wisdom flowing through the word, creating the dream that lives in you and me. In harmony with all, to your heart be true. Stand in your power. Now is the only hour. Hey ya, hey ya. Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, oh, hey ya, hey ya, oh, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, oh, hey ya, hey ya, oh, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, oh, 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 hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, oh. Hey ya, hey ya, oh.
Thank you.
Song every year for Faith in Action. So, did you get that when you were riding your bicycle? Because most of the time you say.
No, actually, I was floating on my kayak on Jane's private lake in
Okay.
Palisades.
Well, you never know when it'll come, but it comes all the time. And thank you, Santa, and Mary, and Louise, and everyone else. Well, you know, every year when we have our Faith in Action, we have the wonderful artists who present their artwork that really represents a artful representation of the theme of each week. And so today we have two magnificent artists who's going to share their work with you on today's theme. And the first is Emerge by Reverend Penny Clement. And here's what she writes about her art. The wisdom we seek is inside of us. The quest of the shaman is to find, live, and express our own truth. The blackbirds are calling us to love ourselves and find the wisdom that is inside. This gives us the freedom to drop our gray cloak of conformity and reveal the unique and unusual abilities we have within. It's time to bring them out, as we incubate the eggs of our potential within the nest of our being. House wren has a sharp beak to break open seeds and nuts. He reminds us that our potential cannot fulfill itself when kept safely inside the eggs. They must break open so our potential can be expressed out to the world. Emerge by Penny Clement. And our next artist is someone that you know and love, Reverend Louise Bezark. And here's what she writes. I was researching Toltec art. This image captured my interest. Immediately I saw that it was a familiar to the Tao of yin and yang. And the sacred geometry of this design reminds me of the story in chapter 1 about the eagle and the snake. When the eagle devours the snake of lies in the garden of your mind, then you will find a home within yourself. You will find your own personal freedom. The light and dark, positive and negative elements remind me of the shadow work we are committed to in this community, allowing us to suspend our shadow thinking and move into our hearts with light and compassion. This image is Hunab Ku, also known as the galactic butterfly, which is a Toltec symbol used to connect you to the consciousness of everything and everyone in existence. In this practice, Toltec oneness emerged, and then along came the shaman. Reverend Louise Bezark's art for this week.
We have been working together on our shadows and on our magnificence, and we've determined that there are a few triggers that we have in the community that keep us from living with nothing and no one against us. And so we've been speaking it out loud together so that we could wake it up, clean it up, we could grow up and show up. So we'll speak that together. Please have compassion for us when we are being not enough, distrusting, grieving, blaming, powerless, or fearful, because this is who we have come here to be: inspired, in integrity, joy-filled, compassionate, unstoppable, generous, and transformational. And now let's unfold all those words as we speak together our vision statement. Spiritual Life Center is a loving, vibrant family that welcomes home all people and accepts everyone, no exceptions. Weaving ancient spiritual traditions with emerging wisdom, we cultivate a spiritual deepening with the divine, each other, and our planet. Now I would like to invite Don Jose to the platform for our meditation.
Imagine walking in nature, barefoot no other, feeling the connection with our body, walking among Mother Earth. And then all of a sudden, we begin to touch the mud with our feet. And as we walk deeper, we see a lotus flower giving a beautiful gift to us. It is silent knowledge. As it shares its beauty, we close our eyes and enter a dream. As the wind blows with such force, it touches the garden of roses. And all of a sudden, it gets a bunch of seeds flying in the air. The message of the rose is on the move, like a hummingbird. And then all of a sudden, those seeds land in the mud. and the mud begins to drink in the seeds, putting them in the underworld. Then it begins to rain. As the sun shines its rays of light, the seed is looking for the warmth of the sun as being nurtured by mother's arms. The seed begins to break, letting go of the world of living in darkness. His path now is to look for the light. And is breaking free from the underworld. Finally, the root has touched the light of the blue sky, and it begins to grow. It has thorns to protect itself from other dreams, because it believes in itself, because it loves itself, because it's ready to give a message. And as the root begins to grow and grow, leaves begin to grow, like arms extending, hugging mama. But then the petal begins to come out of the rose. And it's just like the human heart, just like our heart, like the human dream, we begin to open our heart as the rose begins to open its petals, sharing its aroma, sharing its gift, just like the human get the words, be impeccable with them, and create beautiful stories to share around them the essence of love, our essence of love. And the rose is completely open, and so is her heart. And here comes mama's love, blowing and repeating the same dream again. The elders smile when they see faith in action, and they see the little generations coming up, ready to receive the flame. And we know that we are in the right path, because we are in the path of mama, and to her we are at service for the rest of this dream. Pachamama, we know that you live within us all, and we're here to serve you in this garden of roses. Feel our love. Feel the dream that we're waking up in. And once we wake up, we can no longer go back to sleep, as we become nature again. With awareness, we transform. Hear your message and drink it in. Become it, because it's your presence. Like the sun shines its light, like the moon shines its light. We are children from them both, and here we are alive to share the message from our heart. And so it is. Thank you, Mother Earth.
Jamai, greetings in my language, and good morning to all of you. About 10 years ago, maybe 6 to 10 years ago, we had a really wild storm that came through Sacramento. We're starting to have them a little bit more, but back then it was seemed kind of rare. Thunder, lightning, hail, limbs coming down off the trees. Eventually, towards the end of the week, the power went out for about 5 days, lost all the food. And it was a really intense time for me as well. I was going through some personal storms. They had taken away the category of Best Native American Music Album at the Grammys, which is NARAS, the National Academy of Recording Arts and Sciences. And a lot of us Native artists just kind of quit working as much. We were out of the national spotlight, and that we'd worked really hard to try to get that category. So it was very disappointing. I ended a 6-year relationship I was very disappointed. And just kind of going through a bad time, and I was having a real boo-hoo moment. I was looking out my window and leaning on the windowsill, and hail's hitting the glass, and just feeling sorry for myself. I let myself do that once in a while. So I was inspired to write this song, Dance with the Wind. I looked out at these trees, which I have a huge affinity for trees. I make them sing. So I used to climb trees as a kid. I mean, I just love trees. And so I'm thinking, oh man, I wouldn't want to be a tree right now. I'm stuck in the elements. You know, the rain's hitting me, the limbs are flying, you know. And I would feel stuck. If I were out there right now in the rain, in this storm, I really kind of had this empathy for the trees. And then as I looked closer, it seemed to me that something kind of shifted. And I was listening to classical music on the radio at the time. And at that time, I was able to look up at the tops of my 2 liquid maple trees. And it appeared that they were moving with the rhythm of the song. And I started thinking, you know, maybe it's not so bad to have those limbs come down that were just sitting up there at the top. Maybe it feels really good to have the rain wash down your bark, you know, and get all the dust off. And maybe the trees aren't, you know, stuck with the elements there. And maybe they're really digging this storm. Maybe they're dancing with the wind. And it made me think about how I would like to be able to dance with the wind a little bit better than I was that day. And I talked to my students. I teach at Folsom Prison and Mule Creek Prison, and we talk a lot about learning how to get through the storms in our life, some that are pretty horrific. And I share this song with them and say, you know, I'm still learning how to dance with the friggin' wind. I'm a human. And so I was inspired to write this, and it still inspires me today. I still remind myself, because I really believe this song came from those who walked before me. This is not just my great idea. This was something really important that I needed to learn, so I felt like it was talking to me. So this is Dance with the Wind, Santa Christian, everyone. Wind whispers to the trees, won't you dance with me? Dance with me. I'll show you how to feel free. Lean towards the mother, let her comfort you, comfort you. She'll teach you how to see truth. Seek your dreams like you've lived them before. Find the things worth searching for and dance with the wind, swaying with each moment she sends. Dance with me, my love. of the trees, singing its songs to the breeze. Wind whispers to my soul, won't you dance with me? Dance with me. I'll show you how to feel free. Seek your dreams like you've lived them before. Find the things worth searching for, and dance with the wind, swaying with each moment she sings. Dance with me, my love. Dance with me.
Mary Youngblood, Santa Christian.
Thank you all so much. Oh, dance with the wind. Well, without any further ado, let's give another Spiritual Life Center welcome to Don Jose Ruiz.
The heart is just so inspired. You know, the beautiful dreams, to see the little ones sing the next generations. You know, this is what we're doing everything for, because we know that we have the flame in us, but we have to pass it to the next generations. And we cannot give what we don't have. But the moment that we decide to serve Mama, it's because we find the temple within us all. And when you find the temple within you, that's the place that deserves respect. That's the highest tool of the artist, to respect our art, to never disrespect the art that we do, and to never disrespect the artist that we are. For we are the brush in Mama's hands. And we are channeling, not anybody else, we're channeling her love as we fall in love with everything, with everyone, including with ourselves. Imagine waking up one day and saying to the old dream that doesn't serve us anymore, thank you for everything. Thank you for the bad times, the good times. But here is where our journey ends. Nothing personal, nothing to do victim about, no hate. It's just that we woke up with a different point of view. And in that moment, the mask is taken off. It's planted, buried, and said, so it is. Let the dead bury the dead. We are alive. And all those dead dreams that we put attention to, that we complain about, that we were possessed by, that we put a spell on ourselves, with this love for Mama within us, we break the spell. And we will not let anybody disrespect us, and we will not disrespect anybody else. For Mama's love is kindness. Could you imagine being kind to yourself? That we become skeptical of our own negativity? Because that is what the fifth agreement, it means. To be skeptical, but learn to listen. Listen from the heart. Not skeptical that I'm more intelligent than anybody else. No, it's nothing to do with anybody else. It's about to be skeptical of our own negativity. When we say we cannot change, We're not meant for love. And when we put ourselves down, is to break that spell. And we will no longer use the word against us. We will use the word with impeccability. And then we will practice. Because in the Toltec tradition, there's nothing to learn, only to unlearn what takes our inspiration away. Because the word Toltec, it means artist. Artist of the spirit. It's not about the past. It's not about the future. It's right now. Someone asked me one day, Don Jose, could you tell us the secret of the Toltecs of thousands of years ago? And I responded, I do not know. He says, how can you not know? Aren't you a Toltec? Yes, but I'm a Toltec that was born in 1978. I could read everything, but who knows if it's true? The only know that I know is true is the experiences that I had in my life. That is my reality. That is my dream. I don't need to fix the past or my past lives. No, those are gone. What I need to put attention to is the life that I'm living right now. Why? It's because Mama lives in me right now. And when I wake up after going against myself and going against Mama, it becomes tiring. And to live the rest of my life, I don't want to speak the language of negativity anymore. I don't want to speak the language of victim, poor me. No, I'm tired of that. I'm ready to live life. I'm ready to open my heart and shine wherever I go. Because I really respect Jose now. I really love Jose. That I learned the meaning of my life. And the meaning of my life is to take care of Jose. Because I know what makes Jose happy. And I know what makes Jose suffer. And how do I know this? It's because I am Jose. And like you are yourself. In yourself, you have all the answers. The only thing we have to do is trust in ourselves. When we trust in ourselves, we know exactly what we need to do. We don't need to ask questions around for validation. Is it right that we're doing this? No. I remember saying to my father, Papa, what should I do? What should I do? Another week, Papa, what should I do? Another year, Papa, what should I do? And then one day he answers me, son, aren't you tired of asking me what you should do? And I go, no, Papa. Why? It's because I'm tired of telling you because you don't do. And that was for me something to not take action, waiting for something to happen outside. But it comes a point in our life when we listen to our own prayer, when we really have a desire to change our dream, to change our life. And who's going to listen to this prayer? When we say a prayer, we listen to our prayer. That's what my grandma says. We are our own guardian angel. We always think that it's outside of us. No, but it's within, because when you pray, the angel listens. Are we listening with awareness? Are we listening to the point that we want to transform and leave the old dream behind to get our power back? What power? Will against temptation. Temptation of a negative habit that circles around. And if you notice, this universe, everything circles around, everything's a habit. But once you wake up, that circle can be broken. Because now inside of you has the love for yourself. Father one time says, sometimes we love our pets more than we love our own physical body. But our body, it is the pet too. I remember having my first out-of-body experience. And I'm not talking about the one that you fall asleep and you wake up and you're paralyzed and you can't move and you try to push and then you're all of a sudden floating and then you see yourself sleeping. I had that when I was 11 years old, and I have to confess, it didn't help me at all in my life. It was just a dream. But one day I was with my father, and I always was nervous when he was going to put me to speak on stage. And he traveled around the country, and finally he was in San Diego. He says, come see me. He says, I don't want to see you, Father. Why not? Are you afraid I'm going to put you to speak? Yes, Father, I am. Don't worry, you're not ready yet. Okay, so I went. The first hour happened so beautifully. Papa was opening his heart, connecting with everybody, everybody connecting with him. It was so beautiful. And then my world stopped because he paused and he began thinking, I think he's ready now. My heart began racing. And he said, and now I would like to introduce to you my son. And I'm the only son there. So I walk slowly to the stage. He gives me the biggest hug, gives me the microphone, and goes and sits down. And without instruction, he let me be in front of 1,000 people. And that is where I found an out-of-body experience. Why? Because my body was doing this. Was feeling all nervous. And I said, sit, boy, sit, breathe, sit down. Okay. Once I got the breathing in order, it was time to jump like the jaguars and to speak. In that time, I was still learning English like I'm still learning English now, but back then I spoke 100 miles per hour. It was just a pure intent coming out. And you know, I loved it. And then when I got up stage, I realized that what I fear to speak on stage is because I was fearing when I didn't put myself up there. When I didn't go for it, because I was afraid of my own judgments. Because every time that was going to happen, I was not going to do it, and I was going to get stuck in my own judgments. And in that moment, I break the spell, and I'm doing what I love to do. And thanks to that, I feel like I open my heart, and you know, I'm so grateful that you listen to this voice. And then from the out-of-body experience, one day, I begin seeing it. The real out-of-body experience is seeing our automatic habits. Just like we see the planet circling the sun, it's our habits. When we begin seeing our automatic habits, behaviors, and we don't like the message that we're doing, we don't like what we're living, in that moment, we can change it. Because we can change anything in our life, because life is a dream. And if it's our life, we can change anything in our life because we can change our dream. If we believe 100% to let go of what doesn't serve us anymore, we can be free from the past. We can be free from those tentacles. But why don't we want to let them go? It's because we are addicted to suffering. This is what the ancestors have given to us. Because we're not even living our dream. We're living somebody else's dream in generations. So if we wake up one day in a lineage that was corrupted, we wake up and we end that lineage. And we share the new message with the little ones. Because the little ones, they're ready to receive the flame. And as you know, the little ones learn not what we say to them. You shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. No. They learn how we live our life. So that becomes a social responsibility when you become aware. And it's a responsibility to be shaman because we have gifts to give. And what good is having all those gifts in a closet, not giving them? The moment that we begin giving them, wherever we go, Mama, boss, give us everything more to give. And we will never be out of love because we are the celestial waterfall. And the beautiful thing about the Toltec, because Toltec means artist, art of the spirit. The challenge of the Toltec is how you're going to express what you feel inside. And when you let it out, like I'm feeling coming out of me, it may seem that I'm speaking to you, but no, I'm speaking to myself because it's a mirror. And when we clean our mirror, there's no smoke in front of us anymore. We can see each other clearly. To not be afraid to look in each other's eyes. Because when we look into each other's eyes, we look into the soul. We connect. We feel the experience. Now, with this awareness of loving life, we see our own automatic behaviors. What is it where we lose our power to? What little thing? Because sometimes we beat the big dragon only to get defeated by a little mouse. That's why we have to be aware at all times. And something that helped me become aware is to meditate with the eyes open. One day I remember when I come back from India, I meditated for 2 to 8 hours a day. And I thought I was transcending. And then one day I hear the door. It's my father. Jose, what are you doing there? I answered, I'm transcending. He said, open the door. I opened it. And he said, son, you're not transcending in this room. You are abusing meditation in this room. And I took it personal. Because I'm here for 2 to 8 hours a day, being disciplined to not move, to feel the cramps in the legs, the bum, and then, the flies getting in the face because you're not supposed to move. And I took it personal and says, why you say that, Father? He says, yes, you may have discipline, but, you're afraid to be among people. You're hiding in meditation to not be around people. You believe that you are an introvert and you have that agreement with yourself. That makes you feel uncomfortable, so you go here and meditate for 8 hours a day, thinking that you live in another dream, but son, you live here. You still consider me your teacher, son? Always, Father. Okay, it's time to meditate with the eyes open. What do you mean by that? Well, the mantra that you're saying, say it silence and open your eyes and let's go to dinner. I'm eating. He turns to me with a look. He says, are you still meditating? Yes, Father. Okay. We finish. Okay, let's go to the flea market. And say, here you can interact any dream. There's billions of people dreaming in the world. With open meditation, you can see people's stories, see people's life. You no longer have to hide. And I tell you, when you're living this way and have to open heart, you will never know when the divine mama or father are going to come in human form to speak to you and give you a message because you're hiding in a room. Krishna, Quetzalcoatl don't appear in your room. They appear in the souls of every mirror that exists in the life. And from that point on, I began living. And it was so beautiful. Then a year later, he says, okay, now tell me that mantra that you say. Okay, I get the mantra. I said, okay, Om Bicha Yoga Trambaka Tata Yoga Trambaka Rashita Rakshamam. And I repeated it like 6 times. And then he said, okay, stop. What does that mean? He got me there. I knew a little bit of it, but, not completely. He said, son, that is good, but, that is a different language. It's easy to put sounds in different languages. It's beautiful sound. But what if you get your mantra and you do this prayer? Because in that time, I was feeling like victim. I don't have time to be victim. I don't have time to be victim. I don't have time to be victim 108 times. And I tell you, it works. I don't have time to feel heartbreak. I don't have time to feel heartbreak. It works. Why? Because I'm not putting the firewood of my victimization into the fire and making myself a victim. And that's when I learned. If we're going through a heartbreak and we lose a relationship or someone passes, we're not grateful because we begin hurting ourselves with that. Because if it didn't end, that means it would have never begun. My mama Gala just passed like a month ago. But when she passed peacefully. She did samadhi, and she was so beautiful. And from this point, I thought to feel the love for her, the love for this beautiful dream. And when I feel her love inside of me, she says to me, Jose, what if I tell you this dream is already dreamt? That's why when you have deja vu, you know that you've already been here before. And you're dreaming. And you can change your dream wherever you want. What if you can let go of what doesn't serve you anymore in this life before you die? What if you have the gift of the angel of death, and not to end life, no, to end dreams that doesn't serve you anymore? For this, we are grateful for everything that the divine gives to us. And we're not afraid to die, because in this life, we are afraid to live. And when we begin feeling our emotions, we begin to learn from them, because it's divine talking to us. It's God speaking through us, not in Spanish, not in English. That's why when you say a word with integrity, it becomes your word. And you put your soul into it. And we give life wherever we go as well. My father says about his 4 agreement books and all the other books, he says, those books are dead. But when you pick them up, you give them life. And they become being life. And they give you a gift. And then that life is within you that opens something in self. And then you begin sharing with everybody else. I have to confess, I don't read a lot. But the first book that I read completely was the 4 Agreements. And I read it through so fast, I was surprised. And I went to my father, Father, I know this information, He said, of course you know it. Everyone knows it because it's integrity talking to integrity. And in that time, I thought he wrote it just for me. But I said, a piece of cake. I will master these agreements. And then 2 weeks later, I went to my father. Father, these agreements are very difficult. And he says, no, they're simple. They're simple. What is difficult is the agreements that you have made in your life. To break those agreements that you have made in your life, it seems difficult. That you will make it complicated. But something that you make it complicated is because you don't want to change. The one that you wanted to make it simple is because you do want to change. And you're ready to leave a world behind. You're ready to leave a room without saying goodbye. We don't need to say goodbye to all the negativity. We wake up and say, oh, this dream is not here anymore. And this is when we really begin to let the message come out of us. You know, one of my friends said to me, I always want to have a vision quest. I always want to have a vision quest, but I can't. I never have a vision quest. And I said, brother, do you ever daydream? All the time. That is a vision quest. But if you put intent to it, you begin to have revelations of your own source of imagination. So one day my father sent me on a vision quest, and I began walking to Teotihuacan, pyramids in Mexico. And I walked to the pyramid of Quetzalcoatl, the feathered serpent, and I sat in front of the pyramid, and I looked at the statues. One was Tlaloc, the god of rain, and one was Quetzalcoatl, the feathered serpent, the Christ energy of the Toltec. And then the pyramid, as it was with time, it looked like it was a snake wrapped around it. And then I closed my eyes and began to daydream. And I began to daydream that Tlaloc, the god of rain, was sitting on a cloud, just watching Teotihuacan being built. But then something got his attention. It was a little hole in the ground. There was a big cave inside. So all the snakes started coming out, he saw, except one, a little one that was afraid of the light. So Tlaloc said, I will do everything in my gift to get that little snake out of darkness into the light. So what did the god of rain do? He made it pour. He made it rain for weeks, for months. That cave began filling up, and as the more it filled up, more snakes came out. And when it was almost to the top, the last snake to come out was the little one that was afraid of the light. And for the first time, here it goes, sliding out of the darkness. And when it come out of the darkness, the look blew, so the sun can hit the dirt, the earth, and the stones, so the snake can feel the warmth. And then it reached a stone, a boulder, and he began watching all around, and then something got his attention. It was a colorful bird, the sacred bird of the Aztec and Toltec, the hummingbird, the quetzal bird. And they were the messengers of the god, and they were the other one that was just flying all around. And then the other snake came in and says, you like those birds, don't you? You want to fly free like those birds, don't you? And the little snake said, yes, I do, with such excitement, you know, like a little baby. And then the other snake, with meanness, with poison, said, forget it. You are a snake, and you always will be a snake. You will never fly. And it broke the little snake's spirit that he wanted to go back into its darkness. And then when he got there, he couldn't go back there because it was full of water. And then something magical happened. Like he saw the birds flying free. For the first time, he saw its own eyes. Why? It's because the sun was hitting the puddle of water like a mirror, and for the first time, it was seeing itself. So cute, so beautiful. And then the lock blew. So the clouds began passing above the little snake. And then the little snake said, I may not have wings, but I have imagination, and I'm flying right now. Forget the other snake. It can continue passing poison in its life. I'm going to enjoy life instead. And then in that moment, the look smiled and blew again, raising the little snake up into the air, and blew again. The snake wasn't afraid. It was living his dream. How can you be afraid when you're living your dream? Sometimes you feel excitement, nervousness, but it is the passion that's coming out. So it was just flying free, but all of a sudden, it saw the sun and began remembering what it is. Not true story, but a feeling, a sensation. So when he saw the sun, it was like a sperm going inside the egg. It was the snake going inside the sun, and when it hit the sun, it was a total eclipse. And then the eclipse was over, and something came out of the sun. It was no longer a little frightened snake that lived in darkness. No. It was Kulkulkan itself. It was Quetzalcoatl itself. It came out of the sun, flew around the world, and did a 360 flight back to Teotihuacan. And as soon as it was going to land, it got intercepted by 2 archangels. And the 2 archangels got in their knees and said, "Oh, Quetzalcoatl, it is an honor to be in your presence once again, to feel you come back to deliver the message that we want to build a pyramid just for you. Where would you like it to be built? In the palace of the truth? The palace of the mother? The palace of the father? You name it. We will build it for you." Quetzalcoatl looked down. And when he looked down, he smiled. He waved his head and then looked into the archangel's eyes and said, "I would like my pyramid to be built in the plaza of hell." And the archangel said, "Why? Why do you want your pyramid to be built in the plaza of hell?" Quetzalcoatl smiled, "Simply because heaven doesn't need heaven. Who need heaven, it is hell. And wherever I go, I will take heaven with me." He went back to Teotihuacan, and the Toltec dream was born. And as I opened my eyes, I saw Tlaloc and Quetzalcoatl as the same. Why? It's because it saw that it needed help, that he himself needed help. So Tlaloc made it rain so he can rescue itself as being Quetzalcoatl to come back to life. And you hear right now, we're a community. Spiritual Life Center is a home, is a tribe, and we are part of this beautiful dream. And we come like eagles going into this nest. And then we fly for wherever we come, wherever we dream. But we will share that intent, that energy in our own way, in our own experience, in our own passionate. But we are heaven, sharing heaven wherever we go. And the only thing we have to do is just to be our authentic self and not pretend. We are here to love. And no one will overcome us with judgment because we are love. Nothing will stop the sun from shining because we are love. And we will look at everybody just like Mama and Papa, playing with knowledge, playing with stories. That's why we know that we are an essence of energy, and energy can never be destroyed. So why do we gonna go afraid of death when it's just another illusion itself? And having this awareness, we come back to life. And it's like Mama Gaia said, "Son, the best way you can thank us from everything that we have taught you is to make your life a masterpiece of art." And it's an honor to see Mama everywhere, in every woman, in every man, because we are now in the time of Shiva Shakti Avatara, where we have the perfect equilibrium. And it's happening. It is happening, no matter what is happening in the outside dream. And you know why it's happening? Because we have woken up. And when we wake up, we can change our dream, however it looks like. For our flame will come out of the fire within and will pass it to the little ones. Just like our elders passed their wisdom on to us. And we know that there is no doubt, because if it was doubt that got us into suffering, then it will get doubt that it gets back into heaven. Being skeptical of our own negativity, taking off the mask, and coming out of the sun as the feathered serpent. The snake represents the lie. The eagle represents the truth. The cactus tree represents the mind. And whenever you see the eagle devouring the snake in a cactus garden, that is home. So wherever you find your truth devouring your lies in your mind, you are home. And this is the real you. Loved, enjoy the love of your life. Enjoy your body. It is your greatest ally. I remember looking into the mirror. After all the suffering that I went through, I look into the mirror and I saw my reflection. I imagine I've never seen a reflection before, but I saw those adoring eyes looking at me with such love that it will follow me to hell. Well, now I said, now it's my time to be loyal to that reflection, and I'm taking you to heaven. And it is my wedding vows to myself, because I married life. I married myself. To death do us part. No one has the right to scream at me, and I don't have the right to scream at anybody. And this is when we find true love. Not the I love you if you let me control you. Not the manipulating love, but the real love. The love of eagles when you set them free. The love of jaguars when you set them free. We never say goodbye because we are always connected. And this is the beautiful thing that I really got to meditate with eyes open, is to see the divinity in everyone and to see a reflection of everyone. And like I say, we all work for the same boss, so let's all make of our life a masterpiece of art.
Well, thank you, Don Jose. And as we like to say, we always going to keep the porch light on for you. You come back anytime, and I'm sure that we'll work that arrangement to make that happen. You know, what we've been doing as we've been going through our Faith in Action programs is every week we have an affirmation that we embody throughout the week. And so the affirmation is on the screen, and I'll invite you to join in and saying it together with me and collectively, and just really take it into your minds and your hearts and make it part of your life throughout this week. So let's begin by saying it together. I tune into my silent knowledge. I open to personal freedom through self-understanding, self-acceptance, and self-love. And that may be the greatest love of all, is love of ourselves. You know, we're having our weekly at-home groups, and if you're part of a group this week, they will start. And next week, we're going to continue on with our Faith in Action series, and it's going to be entitled Going with the Flow. So we'll talk about how we can go with the flow next week. And with that, I invite the ushers and greeters to come forward as we prepare our offertory at this time. And as you're preparing your tithe, your gift, your love offering, just know that you're getting into the flow of something that's unchangeable, that whatever we give out comes back to us. Whatever we give out, we keep. And in that consciousness, let's join in and say our offertory blessing together. Divine love, as me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I circulate. Thank you, God.
Hello again, Shemai. Greetings. We've got a song that we've been working on for our next album, and we thought it was so apropos to play it for you today and honor you. And I'm going to let Santa set it up. This woman knows 8 languages. And Spanish is one. We've been doing a Brazilian piece as well, and she's learning Mandarin. And so she's the perfect vehicle for this. We've got an all-women's ensemble, and we are Mary Youngblood and the Sisters of the Earth. We have an African-American bass player. Beatriz Muniz is on congas and rhythm. And we have beautiful Santa, blonde hair, blue-eyed, and me. So we are the Sisters of the Earth, and we thought it was such a good time to try to bring a resurgence of our band. We're playing for the first time in 8 years on November 3rd at the Sophia Center. Thank you. We just got confirmation from our bass player that she's in, so we're so excited to play together again. It's just such a sisterhood. So I'm going to let Santa set this song up and tell us a little bit about it and what it means. and the spiritual aspect of it too, besides it being a love song.
It's by Julio de Venegas. It's called Eres para mí. You're for me. We're for each other. But the part that we're emphasizing today is that I hear it in the wind. I hear it all the time. What do you hear in the wind? Do you have the stillness within your soul, the clarity that you can perceive? There's so much being sent out by each other and by all creation. And in the Hanyu, we say the 10,000 creations. Eres para mí, me lo ha dicho el viento, eres para mí. Lo oigo todo el tiempo, eres para mí. Me lo ha dicho el viento, eres para mí. La sombra que pasa, la luz que me abraza, tus ojos mirándome. La calle que canta su canto del diario, el mundo moviéndose. Y yo sé que tienes miedo y no es un buen momento para ti. Y para esto que nos viene sucediendo, pero eres para mí. Me lo ha dicho el viento, eres para mí. Lo oigo todo el tiempo, eres para mí. Me lo ha dicho el viento, eres para mí. Haga el favor de tocar la flauta para mí al solo. Sube, sube. Espejo que da su reflejo en todo lo pinta tal como es. Mi cuerpo que no tiene peso, si escucho tu voz llamándome. Y yo sé que tienes miedo y no es un buen momento para ti, para mí y para esto que nos viene sucediendo. ¿Temes sentir más en la cuenta? Corazón o sus músculos, si no late de bien te extraño. Mírate de lejos, hacernos los tonos, parecernos tan viejos tiempo. ¿Quieres más tiempo? Mírame la piel, a ver acaso lo que siento. Tú es para mí, yo soy para ti. El viento me lo dijo con un soplo suavecito. Yo sé que tienes miedo y no es un buen momento para ti. Y para esto que nos viene sucediendo, pero eres para mí. Me lo ha dicho el viento, eres para mí. Lo oigo todo el tiempo. Alright, tú eres para mí, yo soy para ti. Tú eres para mí, yo soy para, eres para mí. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mary. Thank you.
I don't know how anybody could just sit there and not do anything with that music. Eras para mí. It's going to be in my mind all week. But we bless the tithes and offerings, knowing we're going to bless the givers and receivers as we go forth, doing our part to wake up from our dream, to live our life that we've been inheriting from our Spirit of God that is within us. And so it is, and so we let it be. Amen. And just remember, next week, I think our color is orange. We're going through the rainbow, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. So come back next week, and we're going to continue on with our series of our Faith in Action, the Wisdom of the Shamans. And with that, let's join in and sing our peace song.
There be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as Creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous song. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it
As we let those words sink in, let us